All right, so the first thing we need to do for this problem is solve this algebraic inequality. 2 is greater than x divided by 6 minus 1. And we are going to start by circling the x term in the inequality, which is this right here. I'm going to just move it over. X divided by 6. That's the term we need to circle so we can see what to get rid of to start solving. And I'm also going to draw a line down the center of this inequality so I can see both expressions on either side of my inequality. All right, so the first thing I want to get rid of is this minus 1. To get rid of a minus 1, we're going to do inverse ops on both sides. So we're going to add 1 to both sides of our inequality to keep that inequality the same, even though it's going to look different. Okay, so I draw my horizontal line to separate my vertical math. Now I'm going to do my vertical math. 2 plus 1 is 3, and that is greater than x divided by 6. The minus 1 and the plus 1 cancel. That's 0. That was the goal. All right, our next step is we are going to need to get our x by itself. So I'm going to circle the x on top here to see what I need to get rid of. I need to get rid of the divide by 6. Now some students like to go like this when they're solving, but that is incorrect. And it's incorrect because when you multiply 6 times 6, you get 36. So when you simplify what you wrote, it's this. But students tend to say, well, no, it's going to cancel. Not the way you wrote it, it's not, because that's not a fraction. And where the number on the numerator matches the number in the denominator, it's a multiplication of 6 times 6. So in algebra, as I've mentioned before, we do not multiply underneath like we do our addition, subtraction, and division. Instead, we're just going to simply write that math horizontally. So I will just put a 6 next to my x. That represents that it's 6 times x over 6. And that 6 is 6 over 1 if we write it as a fraction. Now it's in the numerator of this fraction. And then on this side, I'm going to also write times 6. So I multiplied by 6 on both sides of this inequality. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to simplify what we wrote. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 is greater than 6x divided by 6. Well, 6 divided by 6 is 1x, and 1x is x. We can cancel there. Okay, so we have 18 is greater than x. So we've got ourselves solved, which means we've got our endpoint. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to mark the endpoint on my graph as 18. And now I'm going to decide, since this is a greater than symbol and there's no equal piece, I need an open circle on 18. 18 is not going to work in this inequality, but it is going to split our results into the solutions on one side of 18 and the non-solutions on the other. So it's our division point. All our solutions will go up to 18 but not include it. So I'm going to use a test point to see which side to shade. So looking at this, you might have a mistake here, and if you use this inequality, you're going to graph the entire thing incorrectly. So we want you to, it's possible that you'll do that. We use this, you might get the shading correct. So it's 2 is greater than x over 6 minus 1. I'm going to plug 0 in for x. 2 is greater than 0 over 6 minus 1. And when you simplify that, you get 2 is greater than negative 1. And that is a true statement. And 0 is over here to the left of 18 on a number line. That's its position. So since 0 made the inequality true, I'm going to shade over in that direction. Whoops. Using my line tool. I'm going to put an arrow on the end to indicate that my solutions keep going with that number line to negative infinity. And there you have it. That is how you do your graph of this inequality. Now we're going to do the word form. Describe in words all possible solutions. Use those key math terms in your response. Well, the key math terms for an inequality and solving, you're going to need the word like solutions. You're going to need inequality. You're going to need a word to describe this shaded region and indicate that it doesn't include the 18. So all possible solutions for this inequality, and I'll say algebraic, because it's specifically that type, because it's got a variable in it. Slide that over, and I'll shrink it down a little bit so I can fit all possible solutions for this algebraic inequality are numbers. Well, we can say, looking at this graph, 18 is the biggest number we can get. So all the numbers that are, and it can't be 18, so all the numbers that are going to work are numbers that are less than 18, are numbers that are less than 18. You could say, and so everybody should have the word solution, algebraic inequality, those are key math terms. And then this is the piece that can vary. You could say are less than, are below, are smaller than 18. So this inequality has multiple descriptions for it. But in general, you need to include these pieces in your descriptor. And that's it.